Section 10. Rules of the road. In this section, you'll learn about the speed limits that you need to obey, how to use junctions and lanes safely, rules about overtaking and reversing, driving over pedestrian crossings and level crossings, where you can stop and park safely and legally. Speed limits. It's important that everyone knows and follows the rules of the road. Some are legal requirements and some are recommended best practice, but they all help to make the road safer. You must not drive faster than the speed limit for the road you're on or your vehicle type. Where no other limit is shown, the national speed limit for cars and motorcycles is 60 miles per hour, 96 kilometers per hour, on a single carriageway road. 70 miles per hour, 112 kilometers per hour, on a dual carriageway or motorway. There are lower speed limits for these vehicles when towing a trailer or caravan. 50 miles per hour, 80 kilometers per hour, on a single carriageway road. 60 miles per hour, 96 kilometers per hour, on a dual carriageway or motorway. Where there are street lights, there's normally a 30 miles per hour, 48 kilometers per hour, speed limit for all vehicles, unless signs show otherwise. On some roads, you may see a sign showing a minimum speed limit. You should travel above the limit shown on the sign, unless it's not safe to do so. What does this sign mean? Select the correct answer. Service area, 30 miles ahead. Maximum speed, 30 miles per hour. Minimum speed, 30 miles per hour. Lay-by, 30 miles ahead. This sign is shown where slow-moving vehicles would impede the flow of traffic. For example, in tunnels. However, if you need to slow down, or even stop to avoid an incident or potential collision, you should do so. This sign is shown where slow-moving vehicles would impede the flow of traffic. For example, in tunnels. However, if you need to slow down, or even stop to avoid an incident or potential collision, you should do so. self-reflection point. Do you sometimes go over the speed limit? Ask your instructor to help you identify correct speed limits. Talk to them about how to keep to a speed that's appropriate for the driving conditions. Remember, the speed limit is the absolute maximum. It doesn't mean that it's safe to drive at that speed, whatever the conditions. Driving at speeds too fast for the road and traffic conditions is dangerous. Always drive with care and take account of the road and weather conditions. If you're driving along a street where cars are parked, keep your speed down and beware of pedestrians, especially children, stepping out from behind parked vehicles. Vehicles pulling out. Driver's doors opening. At roadworks, there may be temporary speed limits to slow traffic. These are mandatory speed limits and may be enforced by cameras. Lanes and junctions. Some roads have lanes reserved for specific vehicles, such as cycles, buses, trams or, in some places, motorcycles. These are marked by signs and road markings, and should be used only by those vehicles, during the lane's hours of operation, unless signs indicate otherwise. Never drive, or park, in a cycle lane marked by a solid white line during its hours of operation. Don't drive, or park, in a cycle lane marked by a broken line, unless it's unavoidable. You should only drive over a footpath when it's necessary, in order to reach a property. On a dual carriageway, the right-hand lane is only for turning right, or overtaking. The same rule applies to 3-lane dual carriageways. You're turning right onto a dual carriageway. What should you do before emerging? Select the correct answer. Stop, apply the parking brake, and then select a low gear. Position your vehicle well to the left of the side road. Check that the central reservation is wide enough for your vehicle. Make sure that you leave enough room for a vehicle behind. Before emerging right onto a dual carriageway, make sure that the central reservation is deep enough to protect your vehicle. If it isn't, you should treat the dual carriageway as one road, and check that it's clear in both directions before pulling out. Neglecting to do this could place part, or all of your vehicle, in the path of approaching traffic, and cause a collision. Always be careful at junctions. As you approach a junction, move into the correct position in plenty of time. When you're turning left, keep well to the left as you approach the junction. In slow-moving traffic, remember to check for cyclists to your left before you turn. If you're on a busy road and you find you're traveling in the wrong direction, or you're in the wrong lane at a busy junction, keep going until you can find somewhere safe, such as a quiet side road, where you can turn around.
A box junction is marked by yellow hatched lines, and should be kept clear.
Only enter it if your exit road is clear, otherwise, wait on your side of the junction. You can, however, wait in the box if you want to turn right and are waiting for a gap in the oncoming traffic before you can turn.
Tip: if something is blocking your side of the road, such as a parked car, you should give way to oncoming traffic if there isn't room for you both to continue safely.
Crossroads. If you're turning right at a crossroads when an oncoming driver is also turning right, it's normally safer to keep the other vehicle to your right and turn behind it. If you have to pass in front of the other vehicle, take extra care as your view may be blocked. At crossroads where there aren't any signs or markings, no one has priority.
Check very carefully in all directions before you drive into the junction.
Roundabouts. Roundabouts are designed to help traffic flow smoothly. Follow signs and road markings as you approach and drive around them.
Normally, if you're going straight ahead,
Don't signal as you approach.
signal left just after you pass the exit before the one you want. Some vehicles may not follow the normal rules. Cyclists and horse riders may stay in the left-hand lane even if they're turning right. Long vehicles may take up a different position to stop the rear of the vehicle hitting the curb. Self-reflection point.
Safety at roundabouts and junctions takes good judgment and excellent control of your vehicle.
If you're finding this a challenge, chat to your instructor about the barriers you're facing.
Ask them to help you practice by choosing quiet junctions and roundabouts. Remember, waiting for a safe gap is no reflection on your driving skills.
It may take some time to judge the speed of the traffic, but this is a critical part of knowing when it's safe to go. Overtaking. Overtaking can be dangerous.
Ask yourself if you really need to do it, and never overtake if you're in any doubt as to whether it's safe. You should normally overtake other vehicles on the right, but in a one-way street you can pass slower traffic on the left. Take extra care if you're overtaking on a dual carriageway, as the right-hand lane can also be used by traffic turning right.
Tip.
At night, if a vehicle overtakes you, dip your headlights as soon as it passes you, otherwise your lights could dazzle the other driver.
Reversing. Never reverse for longer than you have to. From a side road into a main road. When reversing into a side road, always check road and traffic conditions in all directions. You can undo your seat belt while reversing if it helps you to get a better view. You must refasten the belt once you've completed the maneuver. The front of your vehicle swings out as you turn, and this may create a hazard for passing traffic. What should you do if you're unsure whether it's safe to reverse your vehicle? Select the correct answer. Sound your horn. Rev your engine. Get out and check. Reverse slowly. A small child could be hidden directly behind you, so, if you can't see all around your vehicle, get out and have a look. You could also ask someone reliable outside the vehicle to guide you. Pedestrian crossings.
If someone is standing on the pavement waiting to cross at a zebra crossing, stop and let them cross if it's safe to do so. Pelican crossings are controlled by traffic lights. When the red light changes to flashing amber, wait for any pedestrians to finish crossing before you move off.
On toucan crossings, cyclists are allowed to cycle across at the same time as pedestrians.
For more information on pedestrian crossings, see Section 6, Vulnerable Road Users.
Level crossings.
A level crossing is where a railway line crosses the road.
It may have countdown markers to warn you if the crossing is hidden, such as around a bend.
Controlled crossings have traffic light signals with twin flashing red lights, plus a warning alarm for pedestrians.
Crossings may or may not have barriers. If the warning lights come on as you're approaching the crossing, stop. You must obey the red lights, by law.
If you're already on the crossing when the warning lights come on or a bell rings,
keep going and clear the crossing.
If you're waiting at a level crossing and a train has passed but the red lights keep flashing,
you must wait, there may be another train coming.
Some types of level crossing don't have lights. These include crossings with user-operated gates or barriers, and open crossings.
Be careful at all level crossings. Stopping and parking.
Always think carefully about where you stop and park your car, to make sure it's safe and legal.
At night, the safest place to park your vehicle is in your garage, if you have one.
If you're away from home, try to find a secure car park or park in a well-lit area. If you have to park on a road at night, you must leave your parking lights on if the speed limit on that road is over 30 miles per hour, 48 kilometers per hour. You should normally park on the left-hand side of the road so that other road users can see your reflectors, but in a one-way street you can park on either side.
You must not stop on a clearway.
On an urban clearway, you may stop only to drop off and pick up passengers.
On a road marked with double white lines, even where one of the lines is broken, you may stop only to drop off and pick up passengers or to load/unload goods. Definition:
Clearway:
a stretch of road or street where stopping isn't allowed.
Don't park where you would cause a danger or get in the way of other road users, such as
on or near the brow of a hill, at a bus stop, opposite a traffic island, in front of someone else's drive, near a school entrance,
opposite or within 10 meters, 32 feet, of a junction, in Northern Ireland, within 15 meters or 48 feet of a junction, unless there's an authorized parking space. You also need to make sure that you don't cause an obstruction by stopping or parking where there are restrictions shown by signs and yellow lines.
In a controlled parking zone, you'll have to pay to park.
Make sure you park within marked bays on the days and times shown on the zone entry signs. Only park in a disabled parking space if you, or your passenger, are a disabled badge holder.
Remember to display the badge when you leave the vehicle. Tip: by law, you must stop if you're involved in a road traffic incident, at a red traffic light,
when signaled to do so by a police officer, traffic warden, driver and vehicle standards agency, DVSA, officer, traffic officer or school crossing patrol.
Smoking in your car.
It's illegal to smoke in a private enclosed vehicle if one or more of the occupants is under 18.
This means that it's an offense
for a person of any age to smoke in a private vehicle that's carrying someone under 18. For a driver, including a provisional driver, not to stop someone smoking if one of the occupants is under 18.
The rules don't apply to e-cigarettes.
Meeting the standards. You must be able to apply a safe, systematic procedure to safely and responsibly negotiate junctions, roundabouts, crossings, turn left and right and go ahead safely and responsibly, emerge safely and responsibly into streams of traffic, cross the path of traffic safely when turning right.
You must know and understand
the rules that apply to particular junctions and roundabouts, for example, priority rules.
The rules about
merging into a stream of traffic, crossing the path of an approaching stream of traffic,
all types of pedestrian crossing,
train and tram crossings,
how to work out the speed limit where you can't see speed limit signs. Think about: where might you see a minimum speed limit sign? When can you drive in a bus lane?
What's a box junction? What mustn't you do at one of these junctions? When are you allowed to undo your seatbelt while driving? If you've just driven onto a level crossing and the warning lights start flashing, what should you do?
How close to a junction are you allowed to park? Things to discuss and practice with your instructor. These are just a few examples of what you could discuss and practice with your instructor.
Read more about the rules of the road to come up with your own ideas.
Discuss with your instructor what the national speed limit applies sign looks like.
What does this mean in mile per hour on different roads and for different vehicles?
What the speed limit will usually be if there are street lights along the road. What the different lanes are used for, on a 2-lane dual carriageway, a 3-lane dual carriageway, a motorway. Practice with your instructor.
Roundabouts with several lanes on approach. Driving in areas with changing speed limits. Entering, exiting and overtaking on busy dual carriageways. What's the national speed limit on a single carriageway road for cars and motorcycles?
30 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour, 60 miles per hour, 70 miles per hour.
Exceeding the speed limit is dangerous and can result in you receiving penalty points on your license. It isn't worth it. You should know the speed limit for the road that you're on by observing the road signs. Different speed limits apply if you're towing a trailer.
You're driving on a road that has a cycle lane. What does it mean if the lane is marked by a broken white line? You shouldn't drive in the lane unless it's unavoidable. There's a reduced speed limit for motor vehicles using the lane. Cyclists can travel in both directions in that lane. The lane must be used by motorcyclists in heavy traffic.
Cycle lanes are marked with either a solid or a broken white line. If the line is solid, you should check the times of operation shown on the signs, and not drive or park in the lane during those times. If the line is broken, you shouldn't drive or park in the lane unless it's unavoidable.
Where's the safest place to park your vehicle at night? In a garage, on a busy road, in a quiet car park, near a red route.
If you have a garage, use it. Your vehicle is less likely to be a victim of car crime if it's in a garage. Also, in winter, the windows will be kept free from ice and snow.
You're turning right at a crossroads.
An oncoming driver is also turning right.
What's the advantage of turning behind the oncoming vehicle?
You'll have a clearer view of any approaching traffic. You'll use less fuel because you can stay in a higher gear. You'll have more time to turn. You'll be able to turn without stopping.
When turning right at a crossroads where oncoming traffic is also turning right, it's generally safer to turn behind the approaching vehicle. This allows you a clear view of approaching traffic and is called turning offside to offside. However, some junctions, usually controlled by traffic light filters, are marked for vehicles to turn near side to near side.
Which vehicle is most likely to take an unusual course at a roundabout? Estate car, milk float, delivery van, long vehicle.
Long vehicles might have to take a slightly different position when approaching the roundabout or going around it. This is to stop the rear of the vehicle cutting in and mounting the curb.
You're driving in the right-hand lane of a dual carriageway. What should you do if you see a sign showing that the right-hand lane is closed 800 yards ahead?
Keep in that lane until you reach the queue.
Move to the left immediately. Wait and see which lane is moving faster. Move to the left in good time.
Keep a lookout for traffic signs. If you're directed to change lanes, do so in good time. Don't push your way into traffic in another lane. Try to gain advantage by delaying changing lanes.
You're driving on a busy main road.
What should you do if you find that you're driving in the wrong direction?
Turn into a side road on the right and reverse into the main road. Make a U-turn in the main road. Make a 3-point turn in the main road. Turn around in a side road.
Don't turn around in a busy street or reverse from a side road into a main road. Find a quiet side road and choose a place to turn around where you won't obstruct an entrance or exit. Look out for pedestrians and cyclists as well as other traffic.
What's the meaning of this sign? No entry, waiting restrictions, national speed limit,
School crossing patrol.
This sign indicates that there are waiting restrictions. It's normally accompanied by details of when the restrictions are in force. Details of most signs in common use are shown in the Highway Code. For more comprehensive coverage, see Know Your Traffic Signs.
What does this sign mean? No through road, end of traffic calming zone,
Free parking zone ends.
end of controlled parking zone.
This sign shows that you're leaving a controlled parking zone and those restrictions no longer apply.
Where should you park your vehicle at night? Near a police station, in a quiet road, on a red route, in a well-lit area.
When you're parking at night, park in a well-lit area. This can help deter criminals from targeting your vehicle.
You're traveling on a motorway in England.
When must you stop your vehicle? When signaled to stop by a roadworks supervisor.
When signaled to stop by a traffic officer. When signaled to stop by a pedestrian on the hard shoulder. When signaled to stop by a driver who has broken down.
You'll find traffic officers on motorways and some primary routes in England and Wales. They work in partnership with the police, helping to keep traffic moving and helping to make your journey as safe as possible. It's an offence not to comply with the directions given by a traffic officer.
What must you do if you come across roadworks that have a temporary speed limit displayed? Obey the speed limit. Obey the limit, but only during rush hour. Ignore the displayed limit. Use your own judgment, the limit is only advisory.
Where there are extra hazards, such as at roadworks, it's often necessary to slow traffic by imposing a lower speed limit. These speed limits aren't advisory, they must be obeyed.
You're turning right onto a dual carriageway.
What should you do if the central reservation is too narrow to contain your vehicle?
Proceed to the central reservation and wait. Wait until the road is clear in both directions. Stop in the first lane so that other vehicles give way. Emerge slightly to show your intentions.
When the central reservation is narrow, it may not be able to contain your vehicle. In this case, you should treat a dual carriageway as one road. Wait until the road is clear in both directions before emerging to turn right. If you try to treat it as two separate roads and wait in the middle, your vehicle will stick out and cause an obstruction that may lead to a collision.
You're driving at night with your headlights on main beam. A vehicle is overtaking you. When should you dip your headlights? Sometime after the vehicle has passed you. Before the vehicle starts to pass you, only if the other driver dips their headlights. As soon as the vehicle passes you.
On main beam, your lights could dazzle the driver in front. Dip your headlights as soon as the driver passes you and drop back so that the dipped beam falls short of the vehicle in front.
There are no speed limit signs on the road.
How is a 30 miles per hour limit generally indicated?
By hazard warning lines, by street lighting, by pedestrian islands, by double or single yellow lines.
There's a 30 miles per hour speed limit where there are street lights unless signs show another limit.
When may you enter a box junction?
When there are fewer than 2 vehicles ahead. When signaled by another road user. When your exit road is clear. When traffic signs direct you.
Yellow box junctions are marked on the road to prevent the road becoming blocked. Don't enter the box unless your exit road is clear. You may wait in the box if you want to turn right and your exit road is clear, but oncoming traffic or other vehicles waiting to turn right are preventing you from making the turn.
How should you signal if you're going straight ahead at a roundabout? Signal right on the approach and then left to leave the roundabout. Signal left after you leave the roundabout and enter the new road. Signal right on the approach to the roundabout and keep the signal on. Signal left just after you pass the exit before the one you're going to take.
To go straight ahead at a roundabout, you should normally approach in the left-hand lane, but check the road markings. At some roundabouts, the left lane on approach is marked left turn only, so make sure you use the correct lane to go ahead. You won't normally need to signal as you approach, but signal before you leave the roundabout, as other road users need to know your intentions. To go straight ahead at a roundabout, you should normally approach in the left-hand lane, but check the road markings. At some roundabouts, the left lane on approach is marked left turn only, so make sure you use the correct lane to go ahead. You won't normally need to signal as you approach, but signal before you leave the roundabout, as other road users need to know your intentions.
Why could it be dangerous to reverse from a side road into a main road? Your reverse sensors will beep, your view will be restricted, your reversing lights will be hidden, your mirrors will need adjusting.
Don't reverse into a main road from a side road because your view will be restricted. The main road is likely to be busy, and the traffic on it moving quickly.
When are you allowed to park in a parking bay for disabled drivers?
When you have a blue badge, when you have a wheelchair, when you have an advanced driver certificate, when you have an adapted vehicle.
Don't park in a space reserved for disabled people unless you or your passenger are a blue badge holder. The badge must be displayed on the dashboard or fascia panel, where it can be clearly read through the front windscreen.
A cycle lane, marked by a solid white line, is in operation.
What does this mean for car drivers?
They may park in the lane, they may drive in the lane at any time, they may use the lane when necessary. They mustn't drive along the lane.
While it's in operation, other vehicles must not use this part of the carriageway except to pick up or set down passengers. At other times, when the lane isn't in operation, you should still be aware that there may be cyclists using the lane. Give them plenty of room as you pass and allow for their movement from side to side, especially in windy weather or on a bumpy road.
You're looking for somewhere to park at night. When may you park on the right-hand side of the road? When you're in a one-way street, when you have your side lights on, when you're more than 10 meters, 32 feet, from a junction.
When you're under a lamppost.
Red rear reflectors show up when headlights shine on them. These are useful when you're parked at night, but they'll only reflect if you park in the same direction as the traffic flow. Normally you should park on the left, but in a one-way street you may also park on the right-hand side of the road.
When may you drive over a pavement?
To overtake slow-moving traffic, when the pavement is very wide, if there are no pedestrians nearby, to gain access to a property.
It's illegal to drive on or over a pavement, except to gain access to a property. If you need to cross a pavement, give priority to pedestrians.
How far are you allowed to reverse? No further than is necessary, no more than a car's length.
As far as it takes to reverse around a corner.
The length of a residential street.
You mustn't reverse further than is necessary. You may decide to turn your vehicle around by reversing into an opening or side road. When you reverse, always look all around you and watch for pedestrians. Don't reverse from a side road into a main road.
You're reversing into a side road.
When would your vehicle be the greatest hazard to passing traffic?
After you've completed the maneuver.
Just before you begin to maneuver.
After you've entered the side road. When the front of your vehicle swings out.
Always check in all directions before reversing. Keep a good lookout throughout the maneuver and remember that the front will swing out as you reverse into the side road. Act on what you see and wait if necessary.
When must you stop your vehicle?
If you're involved in an incident that causes damage or injury, at a junction where there are give-way lines, at the end of a one-way street, before merging onto a motorway.
You must stop your vehicle when signaled to do so by a police, DVSA or traffic officer, traffic warden, school crossing patrol, red traffic light. You must also stop if you're involved in an incident that causes damage or injury to any other person, vehicle, animal or property.
You're on a road that's only wide enough for one vehicle. What should you do if a car is coming towards you? Pull into a passing place on your right. Force the other driver to reverse. Pull into a passing place if your vehicle is wider. Pull into a passing place on your left.
Pull into the nearest passing place on the left if you meet another vehicle on a narrow road. If the nearest passing place is on the right, wait opposite it.
Where may you overtake on a one-way street?
Only on the left-hand side. Overtaking isn't allowed. Only on the right-hand side, on either the right or the left.
You can overtake other traffic on either side when traveling in a one-way street. Make full use of your mirrors and ensure it's clear all around before you attempt to overtake. Look for signs and road markings, and use the most suitable lane for your destination.
When may you stop on an urban clearway?
To set down and pick up passengers, to use a mobile telephone, to ask for directions, to load or unload goods.
Urban clearways have their times of operation clearly signed. You may only stop to pick up or set down passengers.
You're waiting at a level crossing. What should you do if the red warning lights continue to flash after a train has passed by?
Get out and investigate.
Telephone the signal operator. Continue to wait.
Drive across carefully.
At a level crossing, flashing red lights mean you must stop. If the train passes but the lights keep flashing, wait. Another train may be coming.
When may you drive without wearing your seat belt? When you're carrying out a maneuver that includes reversing. When you're moving off on a hill. When you're testing your brakes. When you're driving slowly in queuing traffic.
You may remove your seatbelt while you're carrying out a maneuver that includes reversing. However, you must remember to put it back on again before you resume driving.
Northern Ireland exempt.
What's the nearest you may park to a junction?
10 meters, 32 feet, 12 meters, 39 feet, 15 meters, 49 feet, 20 meters, 66 feet.
Don't park within 10 meters, 32 feet, of a junction, unless in an authorized parking place. This is to allow drivers emerging from, or turning into, the junction a clear view of the road they're joining. It also allows them to see hazards such as pedestrians or cyclists at the junction.
Which vehicle might have to take a different course from normal at a roundabout? Sports car, van, estate car, long vehicle.
A long vehicle may have to straddle lanes either on or approaching a roundabout so that the rear wheels don't mount the curb. If you're following a long vehicle, stay well back and give it plenty of room.
You're approaching a busy junction. What should you do when, at the last moment, you realize you're in the wrong lane? Continue in that lane. Force your way into the lane you need. Stop until the area has cleared. Use arm signals to help you change lane.
There are times when road markings are obscured by queuing traffic, or you're unsure which lane to use. If, at the last moment, you find you're in the wrong lane, don't cut across or bully other drivers to let you in. Follow the lane you're in and find somewhere safe to turn around and rejoin your route.
What should you do when there's an obstruction on your side of the road? Carry on, as you have priority. Give way to oncoming traffic. Wave oncoming vehicles through. Accelerate to get past first.
Take care if you have to pass an obstruction, such as a parked vehicle, on your side of the road. Give way to oncoming traffic if there isn't enough room for you both to continue safely.
When should you use the right-hand lane of a 3-lane dual carriageway?
When you're overtaking only. When you're overtaking or turning right. When you're using cruise control. When you're turning right only.
You should normally use the left-hand lane on any dual carriageway unless you're overtaking or turning right. When overtaking on a dual carriageway, look for vehicles ahead that are turning right. They may be slowing or stopped. You need to see them in good time so that you can take appropriate action.
Who has priority at an unmarked crossroads?
The larger vehicle. No one has priority. The faster vehicle. The smaller vehicle.
Practice good observation in all directions before you emerge or make a turn. Proceed only when you're sure it's safe to do so.
What should you do when you're unsure whether it's safe to reverse your vehicle?
Sound your horn. Rev your engine. Get out and check. Reverse slowly.
A small child could be hidden directly behind you, so, if you can't see all around your vehicle, get out and have a look. You could also ask someone reliable outside the vehicle to guide you.
When may you stop and wait in a box junction?
When oncoming traffic prevents you from turning right. When you're in a queue of traffic turning left. When you're in a queue of traffic going ahead. When you're on a roundabout.
The purpose of yellow box markings is to keep junctions clear of queuing traffic. You may only wait in the marked area when you're turning right and your exit lane is clear, but you can't complete the turn because of oncoming traffic or other traffic waiting to turn right.
What should you do if the amber lights come on and a warning sounds while you're driving over a level crossing?
Get everyone out of the vehicle immediately. Stop and reverse back to clear the crossing. Keep going and clear the crossing. Stop immediately and use your hazard warning lights.
Keep going, don't stop on the crossing. If the warning sounds and the amber lights come on as you're approaching the crossing, you must stop unless it's unsafe to do so. Red flashing lights together with the audible warning mean you must stop.
You're traveling along a residential street. There are parked vehicles on the left-hand side. Why should you keep your speed down?
So that oncoming traffic can see you more clearly.
You may set off car alarms. There may be delivery lorries on the street. Children may run out from between the vehicles.
Travel slowly and carefully near parked vehicles. Beware of vehicles pulling out, especially bicycles and motorcycles, pedestrians, especially children, who may run out from between cars, drivers opening their doors.
What should you do when you park at night on a road that has a 40 miles per hour speed limit? Park facing the traffic. Leave parking lights switched on. Leave dipped headlights switched on. Park near a street light.
You must use parking lights when parking at night on a road or in a lay-by on a road with a speed limit greater than 30 miles per hour. You must also park in the direction of the traffic flow and not close to a junction.
You want to turn right at a box junction. What should you do if there's oncoming traffic? Wait in the box junction if your exit is clear. Wait before the junction until it's clear of all traffic.
Drive on. You can't turn right at a box junction. Drive slowly into the box junction when signaled by oncoming traffic.
You can wait in the box junction as long as your exit is clear. At some point there'll be a gap in the oncoming traffic, or the traffic lights will change, allowing you to proceed.
What should you do if you want to overtake a tractor but aren't sure that it's safe?
Follow another vehicle as it overtakes the tractor.
Sound your horn to make the tractor driver pull over. Speed past, flashing your lights at oncoming traffic. Stay behind it if you're in any doubt.
Following a tractor can be frustrating, but never overtake if you're unsure whether it's safe. Ask yourself, can I see far enough down the road to ensure that I can complete the maneuver safely? It's better to be delayed for a minute or two than to take a chance that may cause a collision.
You want to park and you see this sign. What should you do on the days and times shown? Park in a bay and not pay. Park on yellow lines and pay. Park on yellow lines and not pay. Park in a bay and pay.
Parking restrictions apply in a variety of places and situations. Make sure you know the rules and understand where and when restrictions apply. Controlled parking areas will be indicated by signs and road markings. Parking in the wrong place could cause an obstruction and danger to other traffic. It can also result in a fine.
Where will you see these red and white markers?
Approaching the end of a motorway, approaching a concealed level crossing, approaching a concealed speed limit sign,
Approaching the end of a dual carriageway.
If there's a bend just before a level crossing, you may not be able to see the level crossing barriers or waiting traffic. These signs give you an early warning that you may find these hazards just around the bend.
You're looking for somewhere to park your vehicle. Neither you or your passenger are disabled.
What should you do if the only free spaces are marked for disabled drivers?
Use one of these spaces. Park in one of these spaces but stay with your vehicle. Use one of the spaces as long as one is kept free. Wait for a regular parking space to become free.
It's illegal to park in a space reserved for disabled drivers unless you're permitted to do so. These spaces are provided for people with limited mobility, who may need extra space to get in and out of their vehicle.
You see these double white lines along the center of the road. When may you park on the left? If the line nearest to you is broken. When there are no yellow lines. To pick up or set down passengers.
During daylight hours only.
You mustn't park or stop on a road marked with double white lines, even where one of the lines is broken, except to pick up or set down passengers.
A single carriageway road has this sign.
What's the maximum permitted speed for a car towing a trailer?
30 miles per hour, 40 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour, 60 miles per hour.
When you're towing a trailer, a reduced speed limit also applies on dual carriageways and motorways. These lower speed limits apply to vehicles pulling all sorts of trailers, including caravans and horse boxes.
When may you drive a car in this bus lane? Outside its hours of operation. To get to the front of a traffic queue, you may not use it at any time. To overtake slow-moving traffic.
Some bus lanes operate only during peak hours and other vehicles may use them outside these hours. Make sure you check the sign for the hours of operation before driving in a bus lane.
What's the national speed limit for cars and motorcycles on a dual carriageway?
30 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour, 60 miles per hour, 70 miles per hour.
Make sure that you know the speed limit for the road that you're on. The speed limit on a dual carriageway or motorway is 70 miles per hour for cars and motorcycles, unless signs indicate otherwise. The speed limits for different types of vehicle are listed in the Highway Code.
Which road users benefit from toucan crossings?
Car drivers and motorcyclists, cyclists and pedestrians, bus and lorry drivers, tram and train drivers.
Toucan crossings are similar to pelican crossings, but there's no flashing amber phase. Cyclists share the crossing with pedestrians and are allowed to cycle across when the green cycle symbol is shown.
What does this sign mean?
Minimum speed 30 miles per hour.
End of maximum speed, end of minimum speed, maximum speed 30 miles per hour.
The red slash through the sign indicates that the restriction has ended. In this case, the restriction was a minimum speed limit of 30 miles per hour.
You're looking for somewhere to safely park your vehicle. Where would you choose to park? At or near a bus stop, in a designated parking space, near the brow of a hill, on the approach to a level crossing.
It may be tempting to park where you shouldn't while you run a quick errand. Careless parking is a selfish act and could endanger other road users.
Who is authorized to signal you to stop? A motorcyclist, a pedestrian, a police officer, a bus driver.
You must obey signals to stop given by police and traffic officers, traffic wardens and school crossing patrols. Failure to do so is an offense and could lead to prosecution.
You're waiting at a pelican crossing.
What does it mean when the red light changes to flashing amber?
Give way to pedestrians on the crossing. Move off immediately without any hesitation. Wait for the green light before moving off.
Get ready and go when the continuous amber light shows.
This light allows pedestrians already on the crossing to get to the other side in their own time, without being rushed. Don't rev your engine or start to move off while they're still crossing.
What's the meaning of this sign? Local speed limit applies. No waiting on the carriageway. National speed limit applies.
No entry for vehicles.
This sign doesn't tell you the speed limit in figures. You should know the speed limit for the type of road that you're on, and the type of vehicle that you're driving or riding. Study your copy of the Highway Code.
You're going to turn left from a main road into a minor road. What should you do as you approach the junction? Keep just left of the middle of the road. Keep in the middle of the road.
Swing out to the right just before turning. Keep well to the left of the road.
Your road position can help other road users to anticipate your actions. Keep to the left as you approach a left turn and don't swing out into the center of the road in order to make the turn easier. This could endanger oncoming traffic and may cause other road users to misunderstand your intentions.
You're in a built-up area at night and the road is well lit.
Why should you use dipped headlights?
So that you can see further along the road, so that you can go at a much faster speed, so that you can switch to main beam quickly, so that you can be easily seen by others.
You may be difficult to see when you're traveling at night, even on a well-lit road. If you use dipped headlights rather than sidelights, other road users should be able to see you more easily.
What signal should you give when you're going straight ahead at a roundabout?
Signal left before leaving the roundabout.
Don't signal at any time.
Signal right when you're approaching the roundabout. Signal left when you're approaching the roundabout.
When going straight ahead at a roundabout, don't signal as you approach it. Signal left just after passing the exit before the one you wish to take.
You're waiting at a level crossing. What must you do if a train passes but the lights keep flashing? Carry on waiting. Phone the signal operator. Edge over the stop line and look for trains. Park and investigate.
If the lights at a level crossing keep flashing after a train has passed, you should continue to wait, because another train might be coming. Time seems to pass slowly when you're held up in a queue. Be patient and wait until the lights stop flashing.
What's the speed limit for a car towing a caravan on a dual carriageway?
50 miles per hour, 40 miles per hour, 70 miles per hour, 60 miles per hour.
The speed limit for cars towing caravans or trailers on dual carriageways or motorways is 60 miles per hour. Due to the increased weight and size of the combination, you should plan further ahead. Take care in windy weather, as a strong side wind can make a caravan or large trailer unstable.
When may you stop on a clearway?
Never, when it's busy, in the rush hour.
During daylight hours.
Clearways are in place so that traffic can flow without the obstruction of parked vehicles. Just one parked vehicle can cause an obstruction for all other traffic. You mustn't stop where a clearway is in force, not even to pick up or set down passengers.
When would you use the right-hand lane of a two-lane dual carriageway?
When you're turning right or overtaking, when you're passing a side road on the left, when you're staying at the minimum allowed speed, when you're traveling at a constant high speed.
Normally you should travel in the left-hand lane and only use the right-hand lane for overtaking or turning right. Move back into the left lane as soon as it's safe, but don't cut in across the path of the vehicle you've just passed.
What will the speed limit usually be where you can see street lights but no speed limit signs? 30 miles per hour, 40 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour, 60 miles per hour.
The presence of street lights generally indicates that there's a 30 miles per hour speed limit, unless signs tell you otherwise.
Other than direction indicators, how can you give signals to other road users?
By using brake lights, by using side lights,
by using fog lights,
by using interior lights.
Your brake lights will give an indication to traffic behind that you're slowing down. Good anticipation will allow you time to check your mirrors before slowing.
What should you do if you see a pedestrian waiting at a zebra crossing?
Go on quickly before they step onto the crossing.
Stop before you reach the zigzag lines and let them cross.
Be ready to slow down or stop to let them cross. Ignore them as they're still on the pavement.
By standing on the pavement, the pedestrian is showing an intention to cross. By looking well ahead, you'll give yourself time to see the pedestrian, check your mirrors and respond safely.
You're parked in a busy high street.
What's the safest way to turn your vehicle around so you can drive in the opposite direction?
Turn around in a quiet side road.
Drive into a side road and reverse out into the main road.
Ask someone to stop the traffic. Carry out a U-turn.
Make sure you carry out the maneuver without causing a hazard to other vehicles. Choose a place to turn that's safe and considers other road users.